Pablo Picasso once stated, "We all know that art is not truth. Art is a lie that makes us realise truth." From painting and poetry to symphonies and sculpture, the arts bring beauty and illumination to some, confusion and frustration to others. But what is art? The idea of a work of art, created by an artist, did not truly exist before the Renaissance. And what value do the arts still have? Do they still make us realise the truth, or are they increasingly rarefied and obsolete in this digital, disposable age? With me to discuss the wide spectrum of the arts are Stephen Merchant, graduate of the University of Warwick and award-winning writer.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Karl Pilkington, a man with no qualifications, very little education, but who is now known the world over as a man with a head like a fucking orange.
Alright.
Well, I suppose if I can pick up on something from your introduction, Ricky, you posed the question, in a sense, what is art? It's a very broad term.
It's a very difficult one as well. I think the earliest people to ponder it were the Greeks, and I think they thought that art was, and its point was to try and emulate as close as possible the beauty of nature. So they knew art was a sort of, a quest for beauty, and I suppose they thought nature was pretty perfect in its aesthetic, and so the point of an artist was to try and tap into that.
Well, let me throw that question over to Karl Pilkington.
What do you want to know?
Well, we were just trying to clarify what art is. Ricky's just referring back to the Greeks.
It's just something for your eyes to look at.
Right.
It's just a change from the norm, innit? I mean, that's why I think most people have it. But then, the problem is, I'd never buy a piece of art. I don't see the point in buying something, because I know that my eyes will get bored of it eventually.
Right.
So it's better to keep it in a museum, like a lot of places, a lot of museums keep the stuff. They rotate it, because people get sick of looking at it. They shift the art around, don't they? People go, I'm sick of that now. They move it around the world, let someone else's eyes look at it.
Well, that's more to get everyone the chance to see it, as opposed to the people who looked at it once and now sick of it.
Oh, not the shitting Mona Lisa again. If
No,
I
but
have to
how many
stare at
times
that
can you
little
look at the same thing? I think there's a snobbery with art. I think people do go,
Well,
have
I
you
think
seen
that-
the new one at the Louvre? Oh,
Well,
yeah,
I think
it's
there should
lovely.
be a snobbery with art.
Why?
Because the world is full of idiots, and just because there's not safety in numbers with art. I think you should be a complete fascist when you're creating a work of art. I don't think it is open to utilitarian or democratic referendum.
At the
You end
end
up
of
with the X Factor winner that way.
No, I know, but that pleases the masses. That's what I'm saying. When there was a painting knocking about when I was a kid, right, called the Blue Boy.
Yeah.
Now every house had one, right? It turned out that it was just a bloke who had a load and he was flogging them to everyone. But the thing is, that sums up art to me. Someone's got a load. Do you want one? Go on, then I've got a wall to fill, and they stick it on. It's not. No, what does that represent?
Well,
What's that going to bring to the room? It's just filling a gap. And that's what art is to me. It's filling a gap that would otherwise have nought in it.
but you're obsessed with the functionality of things. This is all you're ever obsessed with. What's its function? Things always need to get you from A to Z in some way. And art's not about that.
Have you got much art in your house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it gives me pleasure, and I don't get tired of it. I don't get bored
Do you
of
look at it every day?
Well, it's there, isn't it? It just adds
Yeah, but other things
a
are there.
pleasure to
Dust
it.
is there, but
Surprisingly, I've not compared
I think
art
I've
to dust
looked
as often as I perhaps should. But the thing about, and this I think may be intriguing to you, Damien Hirst, of course, is more of a conceptual artist like Tracy Emin, and a lot of what contemporary art does is followed on from a guy called Marcel Duchamp, who I'm sure you're familiar with. Now, he famously took a gentleman's white urinal like you'd find in a pub toilet, and he put it on its side, and he signed it with a fake name, and he put it in an art gallery. Now, he did that in about 1917, perhaps a bit later.
it just annoys me, because there'll be snobby people who haven't got a clue, and they're looking at that and they go, oh yeah, see what he's trying to say.
Well, that might make them think. They might.
Damien Hirst, I don't feel angry with Damien Hirst really, because he's
Right.
getting away with it.
But why does that annoy you?
Because it's people falling into the trap. Damien Hirst, before he dies, I bet he goes, what a laugh that was. I had everyone on.
There's a very good point as well, because some people think that the greatest art form of the last 100 years is marketing.
Yeah.
some people say that that is his art. That it's not good enough to do it. You've got to then get away with it. And if the point of art is to inflame, I don't think anything inflames people more than the discussion about whether something's art, or if someone's taking the piss, or if someone gets 50 million for something, do they deserve it? Is it worth a hospital?
Well, what do you think? What do you think of the shark in the tank?
I think I was blown away by it. I thought I'd never seen anything like it before.
It was sort of spectacular because it is so huge and so vast, and to have put a shark, you know, in formaldehyde and to have hung it in an art gallery, it's very striking when you see it.
Yeah,
it's a remarkable achievement.
What is he? Is he an artist or a fishmonger? What he's done, anyone could have done what he did.
Yes, but not everyone did it. He did it. This is an interesting point that you raise. It's the same old point you always raise. Not anyone could have done it. That's always the same point you make. Anyone could have done it.
Carl,
but they didn't do it.
You could say the same about Michelangelo. Is he an artist or a painter and decorator?
Well, it hasn't caught on, has it? Like the crying boy photograph. No one's having them in their house. No one's gone, oh, have you seen this? Have you seen the new trend, a shark in a tank? No one's got the room, no one wants it. And that, to me, shows you what's popular. At the end of the day, if everyone wants one, he's got to be good, hasn't it?
But I think if people were given a chance to appreciate more sophisticated things, then they would. And I just think that's true in all walks of life. You know, it's an acquired taste, and the best things are an acquired taste. They really are.
Well,
you know, if all you eat is processed cheese and white bread, you get a taste for it. But if you try something that's, you know, in my opinion, better than that, then, you know, you'll leave that behind.
That's pretty rich coming from you.
I know, I love a bit of cheddar, don't I, on Mother's Pride.
Yeah. Whereas if you were to be offered perhaps some calamari, your reaction would be...
Squid, get it out of my face.
Sure, yeah. But I take your point, Rick. Thanks for it anyway.
Calamari was an artist, by the way.
I mean, I haven't got pictures in our flat because of that mirrored wall I've got.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, it's tiny. You've been in it. I've got windows on one wall, door to get in on the other, kitchen on the other, mirrored wall on the other. So there's
No
nowhere
space for
there.
art.
There's no space for art.
I'm intrigued how you sit at home. Where's the sofa?
At home.
Yeah.
Facing the mirror.
So you sit looking at yourself all night,
Yeah.
as opposed to a painting.
Yeah, but at least that changes each day.
No, it doesn't.
It does. The picture
No,
changes.
it's not. It's round and miserable every fucking day.
No, honestly, it's good to, because you don't look at yourself otherwise. Especially me, I haven't got any hair to comb or anything, so I don't look in the mirror as much as the normal person. So, whereas now, I'm looking there every day.
So you're sat at home staring at yourself?
No, because the telly's in front of the mirror.
But are you not distracted by yourself?
Yeah, you do. When the adverts are on, you look up, and if Suzanne's sat next to me, I tend to talk to her through the mirror.
What do you mean? So why don't you look at her when you talk to her?
Well, you don't have to turn your neck or anything. There's no neck usage going on. I can just look forward. I look at the telly, lift the eyes up, look in the mirror, look at me, look at her.
What does she do? Look back at you
We're
in the
used to
mirror.
it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like there's more people in the room in a way. It's like,
And they're further away.
there's nothing odd about that. Why wouldn't you use... It doesn't matter. Your
Sorry,
eyes, remember, your
why
eyes
wouldn't
are
you
still...
talk to your girlfriend via a mirror all the time? Is that your question?
Well, no, I think it's quite normal. If your head is facing a mirror where you can see everything in that room, you know, it's a small flat, I can see everything that's going on in there without moving my head. Stephen Hawking would be well happy. So I can look forward, she's sat next to me. If I'm watching the telly, I can say something. Now, she's getting the sound from me still, because she's sat close.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're further away, but things look better from a distance anyway.
So that's how you managed to keep this relationship alive?
Maybe.
You're such an odd little man.
But no, it's not odd. You see, there was a woman on the estate who did use... have I told you about Miss Piggy before?
No.
It rings a bell. Go on.
I think I told you ages ago, it's this fat woman who used to be on the estate. She had a three-wheeler bike. And her
Push
husband's...
bike, pedal bike?
Yeah, like a tricycle thing, but a big one.
Right.
She used to sit her husband in the basket in the back. Cycle about, what have you.
Yeah.
She was known as Miss Piggy. Anyway.
Oh, is this the one that she used to beat him up so your dad pretended to be a policeman?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
one, yeah. You remember?
No, I don't remember this.
Yeah, she used to always duff her husband up and that, and people in the area knew that she was being a bit tight on him. And my dad went round with his mate, and sort of.
But what's this got to do with the mirror?
Anyway, well, the way she used to communicate, she used to always go in quick save and nick biscuits. And if anyone went up to her to say stop nicking the biscuits, she'd pull out like a little mirror out of a bag, and she'd look in it, but talk to you via the mirror.
Oh man!
What? So she's insane.
It's weird, isn't it?
It was really weird.
Like
It used to scare me.
It's like a Salvador Dali painting. you exist in there.
Yeah. It's really, really
So
weird.
hang on. So she used to talk to people through the mirror because she was mental.
I couldn't sit, watch the telly, and look at me watching the telly in the mirror all night.
No,
That's
no,
weird.
that would
Why?
be really weird.
It's really weird, Carl.
Hello, I'm Ricky Gervais. To some, society is a cage trapping and oppressing free-thinking individuals. But to others, society offers essential structure and regulation, preventing anarchy and the worst excesses of human behaviour. Each society has its own codes of conduct, ways of doing things. But who decides these social norms, and how are they governed? From the formative democracy of ancient Greece to the communist totalitarianism of Soviet Russia, history has shown us that there are as many forms of society as there are people to populate them. To discuss society and our place within it, I'm joined by Stephen Merchant, award-winning writer and graduate of the University of Warwick.
Hello.
And Karl Pilkington. You know the score, little round-headed twat.
Right?
In ancient Greece, every year 500 people would be selected from that Grecian society, and they would have to sit there that year, and they would propose laws, and everyone else would vote on them, and that was their obligation. They were obliged to be one of that 500, if they'd be like jury duty, called up, and then they had to propose their ideas, and then the rest of the citizens voted on it. Now, if you're in that position, alright, you're called up, what rules and laws are you instigating?
You might go, right, I want an egalitarian society. I want freedom for people. I don't want slavery. I don't want any sort of oppression. Would that be high on your list?
Well, you could say, you know, when I worked at Cordon Bleu, there was times when I thought, "God, being treated like a slave here."
You weren't though, because you were being paid and you were free. So.
What do you mean? I wasn't free. I was on like from 9 till 6.
Yeah, you had the choice to leave the job. Slaves didn't have a choice to leave. They
no.
they wouldn't go. They go.
I didn't have any
actually,
choice.
Actually, Mr. Jackson, I'm thinking of leaving
No.
your employment.
No, 'cause
the money's no good, and I don't like the
like that.
dwellings.
No.
They didn't have that choice.
I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, you did.
The only
yeah.
other choice was Tesco, and they'd already turned me down.
No, that's not. That
I
wasn't.
had no choice,
That
that's
wasn't.
why.
That wasn't the lack of choice given to most
But the slaves who built the pyramids, that wasn't an option for them. It wasn't like they could go and, well, I could get a better gig on the Sphinx.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No, you're not saying anything. You're saying absolute drivel again.
Here's a little Greek proverb for you. A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in.
What do you think of that? That's amazing.
Can you say it again?
Say it again.
A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in. Do you understand?
Yeah. Just saying, they're planting a seed, they grow a tree, but trees take ages.
Yeah.
It takes a long time.
Yeah.
That old fella's not going to get any joy out of that.
Right.
But, if he's lucky,
Yeah.
the fella next door might have done the same years ago. So it's all about, sort of, planting a seed, looking after each other.
That's great, actually. It's not. I don't think it's directly
It's
what it
almost,
means.
it's almost the point.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he means that future generations. But yeah, if the next door neighbour had done that, then yeah, that works as well.
But you seem to agree that that's a good point. Do you agree that seems a good point to you?
But I'm sort of guessing he enjoyed gardening anyway. Part of the enjoyment was in planting that seed.
we shouldn't have-
It's the old metaphor problem again, isn't
I know,
it?
yeah.
It's not specifically about trees. You know, you plant the tree, as you say, and you may never see the beauty of or the benefit of that tree, but other people will.
But as a metaphor, what he enjoyed is the fact that he's added to society and human life, and he's got a legacy and all that.
But
so
by the same time, when I went to Ibiza, right, now there they have motorbikes, people flying round on them, people don't wear helmets. You might even get 3 people on a moped. I saw a farmer with a goat in a basket. They don't care. They're whizzing around at high speeds. A lot of deaths there.
Yeah.
And they'll have a lot of them see those areas where someone's come off, been killed, people put flowers there.
Yeah.
And because that happens a lot, it's a lovely green island. Now here, We're saying
Whoa,
wear an
whoa, whoa,
helmet.
whoa,
You're saying
what?
that all the deaths make it nice because
It
there's
makes
flowers.
it lovely.
Because there's loads of flowers
So
everywhere.
with death comes beauty. So that's another metaphor. You can have that one.
That was one of the most
Now-
tortuous things I've ever... That was extraordinary.
But look at London.
That was extraordinary, Carl.
Right, Carl.
Well, look at London,
but
though.
there's
Let me
another
finish my point.
Let him finish his point. Let him finish. I'm
Yeah.
intrigued.
Right, London. Councillor with his clipboard. Need a speed bump here. I saw someone doing 35. Put some traffic lights there and a pedestrian crossing. Pelican crossing there as well. And a speed camera.
Right.
Horrible and grey. No flowers.
But you still see flowers left behind where people have died in terrible accidents.
They're not
You
many
see that
good
all the
ones.
time.
They're stuck to a lamppost with elastic band round them. They don't look nice.
He's knows the quality of flowers. Yeah, but the point is,
Wow.
the point is
Some 15-year-old got run down and you're disappointed at the quality of the flowers.
Look at this, Suzanne. Fella lost his head here. Geraniums? Geraniums? Fella lost bloody head.
Well, that's
So we have
that's
to,
funny
we
you
have to
say that,
encourage
though.
gun crime so that people get shot in inner cities and then we can put flowers up and beautify the area. Is that
No,
what
but
you're
if an
saying?
area's nicer to look in, nicer to be in, if it's nicer looking, you don't get people speeding around like lunatics. Because they go, I'm not in a rush, I'd quite like to slow down
This
there and
is
look
so
at the flowers.
complicated. So now what you're saying is because an area is grey and gloomy, people speed around to get out of it. In the course of doing that, they knock people down, but then flowers are put up, which then makes the area beautiful, thus stopping people driving around at speed so death no longer occurs.
Well, they keep to getting out of their cars to put down flowers. And
they get knocked down by other people on their way to put some flowers down.
yeah.
Just sometimes people have to die, don't they? There was a fella outside our house who hit a lamppost. He had a helmet on, but his head come off.
You made me laugh at a man's head coming off because the way you said it.
But that's the thing.
he had a, oh God! There's a man outside in a house. He had a lamppost, he had a helmet on, but his head come off.
So you're saying that because in that one instance, the helmet did not save his life.
His head was in great condition. It's just not attached to his body. And that's what I'm saying to you. Sometimes people have to die. How far do you take all this stuff of you know, safety gear and slowing down and wear bright clothes at night? And it's just too much.
Very important point, you see. We give people crash helmets, we give them, you know, seat belts, we make them wear that, right? Do you think that's right for a start? Do you think someone should be made to wear a crash helmet? They're only hurting themselves.
Crash helmet. I don't think you should get fined for not wearing one. But then if you come off a motorbike and you hurt your head and you didn't have a helmet on, then you can't sort of go, well, they should have had speed bumps there.
Yeah,
I
but
didn't realise we were going too fast.
Don't forget, we're not just protecting him, he could be a father with 2 kids. So you're going, oh, let him, if he doesn't want to wear a crash helmet, let him get brain damage. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, we're over the top in this country
No, but
when it
so
comes
you're
to that
saying,
sort
if
of
you're
thing.
saying no, if he doesn't want to wear a crash helmet, let him not wear a crash helmet. He doesn't wear a crash helmet, he comes off his bike, he smacks his head in, he's a vegetable. He's like that, sitting at home like that. And yet the 2 little kids come to you, you're in charge, don't forget, we've put you in charge of society here, and they come to you, 2 little kids, they go, President Pilkington,
What?
why did you let my daddy not wear the crash helmet?
I didn't. We paid, we put leaflets through the door. We had adverts on the telly, Sunshine.
Yeah, but
It's
why?
your dad's fault.
But why wasn't it compulsory? Because he wanted.
It's not the way we live in, Sonny.
Now I haven't got a daddy.
Has he got an helmet at all? Have you seen an helmet knocking about?
No, he's a vegetable now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't want to wear a crash helmet, but why didn't you make him wear a crash helmet? It wasn't just him, it was us. Why did you turn my daddy into a vegetable?
Where's your mum?
Mum left when he kept going on about not wearing a crash helmet.
I'll put you in a home. I just think, you see, this is the problem. Everyone's looking for someone to blame.
Yes, but this is interesting though because you were particularly callous to that little 4-year-old boy who seemed so sweet and adorable.
Yeah.
But why wasn't he giving this stick to his dad?
Well, his dad's dead. He's a vegetable.
He's dead.
He's good as dead to him.
His dad went within the law. It was not the law to wear a crash helmet anymore, because you said, forget it, I don't want a nanny state. I don't want, if you wear a crash helmet or not. He wasn't a responsible parent. He hadn't thought it through. But this is your job. Some people aren't responsible. Society keeps them on track. This was you were in charge. You should have made him wear a crash helmet. He had 2 kids.
We've heard from one of the kids. What's the other one's attitude? Is he younger?
He's a bit younger.
Is he even younger still?
Yeah.
President Pilkington.
Oh.
Brother's crying now. because you shouted at him. I wish you'd have made my daddy wear a crash helmet.
Why didn't you make your daddy wear a crash helmet?
Well, he won't listen to me because I'm not in charge
He
of
didn't listen to
society.
me.
Yeah,
It
but
seems like a bit of a numbnut, to be
no, he
honest.
did listen to you.
What did he
because
do
you made
for a
a new
living?
rule saying people don't have to
Right.
wear crash helmets.
Right. What,
And he listened to you.
Did he pop shoes on in the morning when he went out? Or did I need to be here to tell him to do that as well?
No, there's certain
Oh,
things
so he has
you
got
just-
some common sense then?
Well, there's no, yeah,
Oh, right, interesting. So he can be bothered with his trainers, but he can be bothered with helmet.
I haven't got a daddy.
Jesus.
Wow, you are cruel to this kid. You
It's
got
just,
mean
this,
spirit
all
to
I'm
this
saying
kid.
is, there should be a leaflet.
I don't even know how he got in number 10, this little kid.
The thing is,
But he's got in, you should have at least the courtesy to listen to his point.
forget all, I'm sick and tired of having adverts on the telly. Don't smoke, wear an helmet, slow down, watch your kidneys, look after your
I
liver.
haven't seen that one.
Now, I don't know why. Why can't they just put a leaflet through saying, hello everyone, use your common sense?
Yeah,
That's all I'm asking.
because-
That's what I take
Because
out
some
as
people don't
president.
have common sense.
Everyone's
Some
got
people
common
are
sense.
fucking idiots.
Yeah,
Well,
mate.
it's not my fault
That's
then.
why there's, that's
Not
why
my
there is a
fault.
government. If we let people, they'd be fucking idiots. They'd be eating turkey Twizzlers and fucking watching Big Brother and X Factor
But they
all
are
day,
doing, they are
and then
doing.
letting their kids run riot in
But
the
they
street.
are doing. Some families do just eat turkey Twizzlers.
Yeah.
There is little knobheads on bikes playing out till God knows what
Exactly.
hour. So it's happening anyway.
But
Yeah,
then-
but that's no argument, is it? It's happening anyway. That's no argument, Carl. It's what we've talked about here. Social responsibility. The reason people get into politics is because they feel it's their obligation to change those things. This is your approach. I wash my hands of the whole affair.
Yeah, I hope that the people who don't wear an helmet sort of they do themselves in, and that's cleared them off. That's one problem sorted.
So you think you're being Darwinian? You're thinking survival of the fittest. The idiots will soon, but they don't, because they're not just the victims. The dead person isn't the victim. It's the, a very good example is, okay, we've talked about it before, people who smoke know that it's dangerous. We know now that smoking gives you cancer. But why is that still legal? And yet people know that and they still smoke. Fat people know that they're going to get out of breath and clammy. And yet they still eat more. They get depressed, they're eating more. They know that they're going to be constipated for a year and a half, but they're still shoving in chocolate cake instead of carrots.
But because that's what I'm saying.
Why don't we stop them? Why don't we stop fat people eating? If you've got a smackhead and you really love him, you intervene, you grab him, you put in a cupboard, you go, you're not coming out. He goes mad for about a year, then he thanks you for it.
Yeah.
So lock fat people in a cupboard. And just
can't
put
get 'em
carrots
in.
under the door. What?
The thing is, there's got to be some
Carl,
responsibility.
grab Ricky. There's a cupboard over there.
You've got to take some responsibility, haven't you? Now, if it's your own fat kid, stick him in your cupboard. But what I'm saying is, as a counsellor, I'm not spending taxpayers' money on cupboards to put the fat kid in.
Hello, I'm Ricky Gervais. Philosophy is the science which considers truth. So said Aristotle, one of the great forefathers of Western philosophy. In its attempt to seek out the truths and principles of human existence, philosophy must answer questions of beauty, of justice, of language, indeed, of the mind itself. To help me consider some of the core concepts and presumptions of philosophical inquiry, I'm joined by Stephen Merchant, graduate of the University of Warwick, an award-winning writer.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And Karl Pilkington, a man with no education, didn't really go to school, no awards, head like a fucking orange, you know the twat.
Right.
To me, philosophy might be the greatest subject of all academic subjects, the mother of science, asking the big questions, why are we here, how do we live? But it's been sort of mugged and kidnapped by those people who put rubbish under the umbrella of philosophy.
Right.
Cod philosophy. I went into a library once, I looked in the philosophy section, and there was a book by Doris Stokes.
Doris Stokes being, for those that don't know,
A medium who said she was talking to the dead. There's crystals, feng shui.
Feng Shui. Yeah.
Oh, God.
The interesting thing about Feng Shui is how, I remember someone came to an office I was working in once and she said, you're going to need crystal here above the lavatory to get all the negative chi out of the system. And she said, this crystal is £25. And the guy went, we're not going to spend that. And she went, okay, I got one here for £5.
Brilliant.
It was surprisingly convenient that she had a number of different crystals that apparently did the same job.
We're also going to need a brush to get the shit out of the toilet. What have you got for that?
Yeah, there's a lot of that twaddle. There was a woman I remember once, I used to do a radio show on the BBC World Service, and she came in and she could tell from the coloured liquids that you chose, from a big selection of coloured liquids, she could tell a lot about your personality from that. So I picked up about 3 or 4, and she looked at them and I chose like a blue one, just arbitrary, and she looked at me and she said, okay, I get the sense that you like to communicate with people, but on a global level.
You were working for the World Service.
As we spoke, we were broadcasting on the World Service. I don't know where, I mean, she just read it from the liquids. As a novice, one of the key catchphrases, if you like, of philosophy, and one that's always intrigued and confused me a little, is the famous René Descartes quote, I think, therefore I am. A lot of people think of that as the epitome, in a way, of a philosophical statement.
First thing we ever did, I think, at degree level, and it's the one thing I'd already heard of. It's one of those things that sort of filters down, cogito ergo sum, as you say, I think, therefore I am, when Descartes was pondering his existence. Just before we get to his conclusion, Karl, how do you know this isn't a dream?
Just because I haven't been sleeping that well.
Right, okay.
No, but you could still be dreaming, couldn't you? Because this could be a dream that you haven't been sleeping lately. You could be dreaming the last few nights you haven't been sleeping.
In dreams, they're different. Like, I mean, like I say, I don't have that many of them because I don't sleep that well. But when I do have one, there's something different and vivid about it. Now, if I was dreaming all this, I reckon my boiler would have been fixed ages ago. I don't think anyone has a dream that goes on for that amount of time.
Well, it could be a nightmare, but the presumption, I think you're also presuming that the dream that you could be dreaming needs to be exactly the same as the dreams you think of when you're dreaming. My point is, there's no way of you knowing that this life you're living now as you talk to us is real, and that it's not actually the imaginings of another Karl somewhere else.
There are actually no clues, Karl. There are actually no clues now that this is the real thing.
Well, most of the time, it's 1 minute I'm awake, next minute I'm asleep, then I'm awake again.
Yeah.
Sleep's just...
Do you know the bit between you being awake and awake again? That's called a sleep.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever think things while you're asleep?
Vivid things.
It's that bit between the awake and awake I want to look at.
I told you about one ages ago where...
Go on.
Where you burst in and I was on the toilet.
I never heard this dream.
The one that it was like everyone was German and it was at some gig or something, and you opened the door and everyone was looking and laughing at me, and I'm sat on the toilet, and you sort of said, oh, that's probably because you're uncomfortable with
fame
being put on the limelight.
Yeah, that you might be out, yeah, possibly, yeah.
But that's one dream that could be true.
But yeah, exactly. Or there is a likelihood that you think, I bet he's going to burst in.
I am always on edge when I use the toilet here.
Yeah,
I kind of think, is he busy at the moment?
You have to wait till he's on the phone to go for a piss.
I have to sit there holding the lock.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing
it isn't
to do.
normal. It's not normal.
But there's an example of a dream. But I think what you're failing to grasp is not so much the mechanics of whether this is a dream, but that you cannot know the truth of what you're experiencing. You cannot know that this is reality. It's a question about reality.
So
how do we know what reality
then.
is?
What reality is and what we like about reality. Robert Nozick did this thing that if you could go into a flotation tank and you led a whole virtual life and it was the best life possible, you did exactly what you've always wanted, you became the person you wanted to be, you did the best things you could ever dream of doing, and you literally couldn't tell the difference. So it was your life, okay? And you lived your biological life out in that tank and died at 80 and had the best life any person could ever have. You could pre-program it. Would you get into that tank knowing what you know now, knowing that you will have the best life ever, with no heartache, no upset, no loved ones dying?
So what's happening when I'm sort of having a packet of munchies?
Yeah.
Am I having them, or are they imaginary?
They're imaginary, but you can't tell the difference. It's the best packet of munchies we've ever had. I love the fact that you went into the flotation tank, and your one proviso was, are munchies as good?
Yeah.
No, I'm just taking it back to basics.
That is
right.
basics.
You've got to pre-program your life. That's where you'd start, is it? Munches must always taste magnificent.
Well, it's just that if you can still enjoy the basic things in life, then that's when you can't go wrong.
You do. You enjoy them more. It's the life you'd ever want to live. And
Yeah,
you're living it.
Bit dangerous.
Sorry?
Bit dangerous.
Why? Go on, why?
Just, I don't know, because sometimes I think things don't happen for the best, right?
Right.
Sometimes you can sort of think, oh, I'll enjoy that if that happens. And then it doesn't happen, and you've had time to think about
but
what
this
would
is
have happened.
perfect. No, this is built in, because whatever happens is for the best. So not only when you're in this flotation tank are you enjoying yourself, that things just keep getting better or staying as
You
good.
never have a bad day.
You never have a bad day.
But how long would that last for before you go and fed up with this?
Well, why would you get fed up with it? Because you do something else. It's the perfect life.
Bear in mind, you're not aware that you're in the flotation tank. You've made that deal, but then once you're in there, you don't know, you're not aware of being in the flotation tank. You're living your life and it's perfect. You're happy. Well, we don't know how you would be happy. You just have munches every day and...
Well, yeah,
Focus
you'd get in it then. You'd get in it. If you don't know you've got in this tank, if I somehow go to bed at night, someone injects me in the head, and then they go, right, stick him in the tank now, and then I wake up, packet of munchies there, sun's out, Suzanne goes, oh, it's a nice day, we'll go and do something nice. And I go,
Right.
yeah, I'm meant to be at work. She goes, no, I don't have to go in today.
Right.
I go, all right, let's go out then.
Now, what's interesting there is that within this scenario, I gave you any life, you could do anything, and you chose the exact life you've got now, except Suzanne's got a day off. Now, I both love that.
Well, I was a
and
bit
sort of-
suspicious, though, that she's just taking a day off.
No way,
willy-nilly.
it's not happening now. It's not happening, really happening. You can do anything you like, but I like the fact now you're even questioning it. You're not in the tank, and why has Suzanne got a day off, right? Now, I love that, because that suggests to me that you're a nice, happy, satisfied, whatever you want to do it, contented person who's got the perfect life. However, it's almost like you haven't fully understood the possibilities. For example, you wake up, there's the munches, sunny day, Suzanne's not at work. You know, why aren't you at work?
half
She
a
goes
day
to
off.
you, hold on though, why are you flying? And you go, I just can. But you hadn't even thought that maybe you could fly or swim or hold your breath.
You just
No,
gonna
no,
have some
but
munches for
hang
breakfast.
on a minute, this is day one.
Oh, okay.
When you go on holiday,
Yeah.
like I said before, you don't turn up and go, right, it's 1 o'clock, jet ski for half an hour, bungee jumping 40 minutes after that, let's have a nice roti,
Yeah.
and, you know, try a little cocktail.
And what do you do? What do you do when you arrive there?
Well, you get there,
Yeah.
the fella takes your case to the room,
Right.
you have that panic of, am I going to give him too much money? I don't know the currency well enough yet, I don't know how much
More
things
information
are.
than we asked for.
No.
And the most mundane scenario I've ever heard.
No, but this is what happens in real life.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So you have that scenario. You go, right, where's my shorts? You get them on. You go out and have a wander.
In the case on.
You have a wander round
Yeah.
to know where everything is. The
Car
shop,
park you did
the
once.
shop. You know how close the beach is.
Yeah.
Is it busy?
Yeah.
Okay, you're just telling us what happens when you go on holiday. What's your point?
Okay.
Because you don't want fun all in one go. You want to build to it because that's sometimes part of it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So-
anticipation. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Yeah, that little bit.
Yeah.
It's about things taking time, innit? Then looking back at the journey and going,
Yeah.
how did I get here?
I remember we were shown the cartoon version of Animal Farm when we were about like 15, 16. And we were discussing it afterwards about Napoleon. Oh yeah, great. Oh yeah, communism versus the poor proletariat and all this. And this bloke went, "You lot make me sick. It was just a nice film about some animals." Brilliant.
Yeah. What's your take on that, Carl? No, go on. What's your point? Because you can see the irony there, can't you?
I haven't seen it.
No.
If you want to do a serious point, don't use animals.
No? Well, I disagree with you there because we're going to get onto literature later, and I think my favourite is probably Charles Dickens, and I think the greatest story ever told is A Christmas Carol, and there's only one way that could ever be improved, and that is a Muppet Christmas
That's
Carol.
absolutely right, yeah.
So, and I think that you could, and I think people could take a lesson from that and maybe do other films with the Muppets. A Muppet Schindler's List.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could make it so moving, couldn't you?
Schindler's List in space. Yeah. Well, I think it would certainly help bring that story to a wider audience.
I think so.
A lot
Yeah.
of people who, like Carl, who were put off perhaps by the depressing black and white,
white.
of it, they would suddenly see the Muppets singing and dancing.
Miss Piggy's Choice.
Miss Piggy's Choice, yeah.
Well, we talked about that.
What?
About things like that in art as well. Do you think that bringing something so serious to the masses, like films do, things like the Holocaust, and like Sophie's Choice, where she has to choose which child lives and dies.
Why did she have to pick?
Well, because the Nazis were horrible, nasty, evil people.
And which one did she pick?
I don't think that's the point. I don't think that's the point.
I love the idea that
this is not a betting game.
No, but I imagine this is like Deal No Deal. It's kind of, you're down to the last two. Which one you're going to go for?
God. But why did you ask which one did she choose? Because even if he'd said the names, Robert and Alison, what difference would it make? You don't know the story. Why is it that
because
you've
then
said...
I'd ask more then. If you said Alison, I'd go, what was it with Alison? What did she have over Robert? That's what films are meant to do. You question it. Whenever I watch a film with Suzanne, I always say at the end, what was going on there?
That's because you're an idiot!
Christ!
That's because you've just watched Muppet Christmas Carol and you can't understand why a frog's able to talk.
I'm all for films with a good storyline.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's a perfect point. One extraordinary point.
He's gonna follow this up, mate. He's gonna follow
He's got
this up.
something there. He's got something here.
Carl, go on then. What's your
No.
take on films?
Films are really good. You can get lost in them.
Right?
And
You like one with a good story?
I mean, whenever anyone asks, it's always the same. It's Elephant Man. It's Kes. Mission Impossible 2.
Mission Impossible 2. These are what you consider great works
No, I'm
of
just
film
saying
art.
these are ones that I've enjoyed recently. There's so many films that I haven't seen, yet you always say, "Oh, have you seen so and so?"
Well, Mission Impossible 1.
And there's good news for you. 3's out.
That's true. One of the most striking art exhibitions that I ever attended, Carl, was an exhibition of outsider art. Something I'm sure you're very familiar with. Outsider art, of course, is work that is made by people who are often institutionalized for mental health problems, or they are just incredibly, the people who aren't in any way part of the art establishment.
Well, right up to psychopathic murderers, clinically insane mass murderers would count as outsider art. I went to an outsider art exhibition in New York. It was incredible, and I bought a painting of this guy. He's a chronic schizophrenic, and he paints in tar, like road tar that he gets from roads, and he paints in that on wood he finds in sort of skips, and it's incredible because it's sort of like scratched in. And it's amazing. And there's this thing of Jesus being helped down off the cross, and you have to study it, but it's there, and it's quite incredible that it's just scratched in this wood by tar. And there's loads of things that I was walking around. Admittedly, I was walking around there going, "This is fucking mental," and James was going, "You've got to stop saying that," because of course some of the people are mental. There was one bloke who done a sculpture of a skull, right, and underneath. It was like a little head with his teeth. Underneath he'd put a sign that said real teeth. Where did he get the real teeth from?
What I think is interesting about that is how much therapy it provides for these often mentally unstable people, which is another important value of art, of course. People's self-expression, people being able to give a little piece of themselves through their work. Do you not see any value in that? How do you express yourself?
Whistle.
You whistle.
Yeah, I found over Christmas I whistled a lot more than I usually do, and I think that was just freedom.
What do you mean freedom?
Right,
freedom.
expand on this point if you would.
Well, that's what art is, isn't it? It's you being free of all the world's heaviness on your shoulders.
See, that's a great quote, that. That's great, that. For art is freedom. I love that, because I think you've really hit on something there.
Would you include the free of all the world's heaviness?
Well, I know what you meant. I know what you meant there.
Would you include that one in it?
I mean, I would include the world's heaviness in my freedom. You know, some artists are attracted to the dark side, the heaviness of the world.
But I just want to return to you whistling as your artistic expression of freedom. I mean, why do you find yourself whistling more?
That's what was weird.
So just
few
take us
days
through a typical day. When would the whistling begin?
So this was that you spent Christmas down in Kent with Suzanne and her parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could I suggest something? Your freedom was thinking, I'm in my own place now. I'm going to annoy them.
Well, it was mainly it's when we were playing Scrabble, and they were taking ages to have their go, and couldn't have the radio on because the boiler affects the radio. It works. It just gives something off every time it kicks in. The radio goes all staticky.
Right.
So I just was sort of supplying the soundtrack.
I think you've really hit on something there.
Would you include the free of all the world's heaviness?
Well, I
element of the
know
quote
what
as
you
well,
meant.
or
I know
would
what you meant there.
Would you
I
include
mean-
that one in it?
I mean, I would include the world's heaviness in my freedom. You know, some artists are attracted to the dark side, the heaviness of the world.
But I just want to return to you whistling as your
Yeah.
artistic expression of freedom. I mean, why did you find yourself whistling more?
That's what was weird.
So just
few
take us
days
through a
See,
typical day. When would the whistling begin?
So this was that you spent Christmas down in Kent with Suzanne and her parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could I suggest something? Your freedom was thinking, I'm in my own place now. I'm going to annoy them.
Well, it was mainly it's when we were playing Scrabble, and they were taking ages to have their go, and couldn't have the radio on because the boiler affects the radio. It sort
You
of
got boiler
interferes with
problems
it.
down in Kent
But
as well?
it works. It just gives something off every time it kicks in. The radio goes all staticky.
Right.
So I just was sort of supplying the soundtrack.
And what kind of things would you be whistling?
It was like I just sort of did a whistle medley. It was going from one thing to another,
A Wedley.
and a man was impressed. She was like, "Oh, you can whistle, can't you?" I was going, "Yeah." And then she was saying, "How loud can you go?" I was just doing all different levels.
Sorry, this sounds like a scene from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. The boiler setting off the radio. I can whistle. Oh, you're good whistling, aren't you? Oh, yes, Scrabble. Talk about outsider art.
I love the fact that Carl's life is like living in a home
It
when
is.
you're in your 80s.
Yeah.
But you felt that this was your way of expressing yourself.
I just found it odd because I don't whistle that much. I think just because I think I'm fed up most of the time when I'm in London, and you don't whistle when you're fed up. Do you? Whistling's a happy thing. You never get an angry man suddenly breaking into a
Well,
whistle.
the people who aren't whistling are usually pissed off. But yeah, the bloke who's whistling, it's like, it's the least. He's the least annoyed person in the room when someone's whistling. Same as holding a drill. The only person that noise doesn't annoy is the bloke who's drilling. Everyone else wants to punch his face in. Same with whistling. Whistling,
Goes to show
there's no point in whistling.
No, there is.
No, there's not. The only point to whistling is in a bloke's changing room. Everyone's whistling, going, "I'm not looking at your cock." If I'm whistling, I can't be looking at your cock. Anything else, there's no calling a dog, maybe. Calling a dog.
Changes the atmosphere.
Yeah, it annoys everyone else.
Don't know. I mean, our window cleaner was known as like, that's how you knew he was there. He always whistled. And in the end, he fell off his ladder, broke his front teeth,
Oh.
retired.
What, because he couldn't whistle?
That was it. It was like,
Well, yeah, he
can't
whistled all the time.
Can't whistle,
Well, yeah.
can't clean windows. It's a bit tragic.
Could he take along a whistle? Just pop that in his mouth.
Yeah, I suppose he could have done. I didn't think of that.
What about a flute? Or a recorder? Not London's burning again. Fucking clean the windows and then fuck off.
He didn't really think this through, did he? He retired at the age of 28. And his whole family were bankrupt.
With no teeth.
Yeah.
And just a
Why
bucket and a
why aren't
squeegee.
you working, Dad? Because I can't whistle.
I can't whistle anymore, and if the day you give up whistling is the day I give up window cleaning.
So, back at the Chosen 500 in ancient Greece, right, you're one of them. What other things?
I like that saying, the one about do to others as you'd like to be treated yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Pop that on a leaflet, pop it through the door.
But you seem to be doing a lot of leafleting. That seems to be your entire governance seems to be guided by popping leaflets through doors. And I get a lot of leaflets, so I presume the rest of the country does, and it's not always working. So maybe sometimes you've got to instigate something a little bit more strong-minded than fucking leaflets, my friend. Maybe you've got to make a couple of laws. You've got to stand
every
up.
individual can go, how would I want to be treated? Well, I'd want someone to throw cake at me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a greedy bastard.
I would want someone to steal my telly.
I'd probably start on the way you look.
Right, go on.
I'd just say, right, make an effort, tidy up your house, and I'd have some sort of.
I'm poor.
Doesn't matter. You can still tidy up.
Can we get better houses then? Because
Well, look after the one that we've let you.
Yeah,
Get
it's
rid
fallen
of that
down.
old mattress that's in your garden there. Clean the windows, and then we might give you a nicer one. At the moment, you don't deserve anything nicer. And that's what I'm saying. You've got to be honest with these people. Wake them up.
I like that.
Sure, you've got to be honest with him. You've got to wake him up through heavy leafleting campaign.
yeah.
But do you see the problem with some of what you're saying, Carl, is that it's very hard to enforce that in law because it seems unjust and unfair. You can't really start legislating against people's looks or whether they want. I mean, you have to keep your house tidy. I mean, who decides how tidy it has to be? It's the tidy police. I mean, that's a strange.
Well, hold on though. I like wearing sort of these denims. It expresses who I am, and I like wearing a beard because I just think it's natural. I don't really like shaving, and I like this sort of smell. I like this smell of BO. That's who I am as a person. So how can you impose that on me just to be part of society? Who are you to infringe my rights as an individual?
What do you want out of life?
Well, no, I think I just like to say I don't want to conform. I don't want to just shave and wear a suit and I keep myself to myself, and I like to just grow a beard and eat porridge with my hands. I'm not hurting anyone, so I don't know why I have to conform to that society.
Well, there's nothing I can do for you. You're wasting my time, really.
Although I do feel ill, I need to go to the hospital now. So I'm gonna go to the hospital now if that's all right. Is there care for me?
Well, what's up with you?
I've got diseases from like eating with my hands, and there's things growing in my beard.
Right.
So will you clean that up for me now?
No, because it's all been brought on yourself.
Well, no, but that's irrelevant. A lot of people bring things on themselves, but you can't just like ignore them because it's just part of it's a bad society.
So how do they learn then?
I don't know why I'm being punished for being stupid.
How do they learn then? Well, I don't understand why I've got to worry about you.
I've got
proper ill people.
Well,
you had a kid whinging at me this morning because his dad was a Mong.
Obviously, in China, you can only have one child, can't you? Is that something you feel we should bring in here?
Yeah, I think we've got to. I don't know about one kid. I just sort of concentrate on who can have a kid, as opposed to if someone's got a load of money and they're good at looking after kids, let Madonna have as many as she wants. But if it's someone who's
social engineering you want to do.
But hold on though.
Well, what use are they then? If you're bringing them into a poor family, what's the point? What good is that for anyone? It's not good for the people who've had the kids.
So who's deciding who's allowed to have how many kids? Are you deciding?
I was brought into the poor family, wasn't I?
What?
I was brought into a poor family.
No, I'm talking really poor.
So, third world?
No.
What, poorer than that? Poorer than no money at all?
No, somewhere in the middle again. You've gone too far the other way.
Okay,
why has it always got to go the other way?
Cornwall.
I just mean like the people who I've told you about on the estate sometimes, who had that one who chased cars and stuff. He wasn't happy. They didn't care if he was there or not. What's the point?
Right. So hang on. So let's imagine that Ricky and I, our husband and wife, we've come in, right? What's your questions to us to establish whether we are allowed to have a couple of kids?
Hello. Thanks for coming.
Me and my husband, we can't have children. Because he's got no sperm at all.
Okay.
He had one sperm and it was ridiculous. It was awful. It just came out like a dead anchovy.
Right.
And you're meant to have 300 million tiny ones, and he had one big one. It was horrible. I had to pull it out. It was like a leech. And also I haven't got a vagina, so there's no place
completely smooth down there like an action man.
Yeah, it was just that. I don't know. But we love children, and we wondered if we could have a child.
What do you do for a living? What do you do? What's your work?
I'm a rapist.
Right.
And I dispose of the bodies.
Right. Well, fill out this form.
I should have clarified. A rapist murderer.
Yeah.
Fill out the form.
Yeah. He does it in the wrong order as well, I must say. So, no, number of times I've disposed of the body. He said, I hadn't made that one.
I know. Just wondered what else you need to know about us. Because even though
that was our little joke, by the way. He doesn't rape.
I work in an office.
He works in an office in the town.
But
I'm a housewife.
She's a housewife.
I'm making a little nest for when we adopt a little child.
We don't earn a great deal of money, but we're good parents.
We're very good parents.
What's that based on?
Well, we're good people, I mean, aside from a few naughty jokes.
We're God-fearing people. We believe that God is watching all of us, and we believe in the Old Testament.
And sometimes he tells us to kill and rape.
Yeah, sometimes he does, yeah. Particularly, we've stoned a couple of homosexuals this week alone.
We're joking again.
We're joking again. We don't believe in God. We're from an atheist and believe that our time on earth is all we have, and then when we die, we become worms' meat.
Right. Well, you filled out.
But we've already painted the back bedroom. That's ready for the little child.
We painted it black because we want our child to be a Satanist. Joking again.
Little joke
joking again. We want him to be an accountant.
Yeah.
gay accountant.
Some would say the same thing. Only joking, of course.
I think there's too much in society where people are pressured to be heterosexual, so we're going to try and make ours a homosexual. So we don't care whether you get a homosexual or a heterosexual, but I'll tell you, by the time he's 14, he will be as queer as the Ace of Spades.
Right, so you filled out the form.
Fill out the form.
Yeah, we'll put that in, get it processed.
Right.
Okay, but what kind of questions are you going to ask us?
None really.
No, so
It's just my job.
you're happy. You're
It's my
happy with
job
us.
to pass the forms on.
We've passed the interview.
Because that's the sort of world we live in now.
God! We don't want a child. We don't want a child, actually.
But do you know where we could buy a knife and a sack?
We talked about the little fella planting a tree that he will never sit under. He's given that to the next generation. Okay? Now, big discussion about donor cards. Of course, there's no reason not to give your kidneys away after your death, to all your organs. They're no good to you, and you'll be helping life. It's perverse to me that you wouldn't want to donate your body to a worthy cause after your death. Medical research, whatever. You agree with that, don't you?
Well, you know how I feel about it a little bit. I don't like the idea of certain bits.
Why not? What does it matter?
Just because there's certain bits that are really personal to you, aren't they?
No, there's not. What bit is more personal than another bit to you?
Well, like I've said, my eyes. They're my eyes. They see stuff I like.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if someone else has them and they start looking at stuff I don't like? I don't like the idea of that.
But that's ridiculous, because your eyes they're just bits of tissue. Then they haven't got
No,
your.
but we don't know, because they found out
know.
there's something called cellular something or other that I've told you about the person who had some sort of operation and ended up like in Yellow Biscuits. I've told you about.
Yeah, but that's bollocks.
It's the same
You
thing
told
with
us
the
about
eyes.
it, but I dismissed it as bollocks immediately.
but
Not just because you said it, because it was intrinsically bollocks.
No, but it could work the other way anyway, where the person who has my eyes starts like looking at ants and insects and stuff. I might
It's all
carry on.
bollocks. Again, this is all bollocks. Got none of your memories, none of your thoughts, none of your reasoning, nothing of you, none of your personality. They're just a collection of cells that now have light going through them and making this new person see. They're a lens. They're a lens. That's all they are. So there's no reason why, you know, this was the crazy thing, isn't it, when people started saying that they wanted their organs to go to a particular race of person, and obviously that's illegal. Also, it shouldn't be the choice, really. I think you should have that opting out, that you have to say that you don't want your organs given after, and if you die, then they assume that those organs are up for grabs, because there's a shortage. So what do you think of that?
Like I say, they can have certain bits. They're not having the eyes. I think that's fair.
What, can they have the cock and balls?
I prefer it if they didn't.
You're saying no one's going to have my eyes or my cock and bollocks.
What if the tables were turned?
Yeah.
What if someone said, Carl, you've lost your cock and bollocks in a terrible accident. It's all right, we put some flowers at the scene of it. It's brightened the area up. But we've found a donor who's happy to give you his cock and bollocks.
He's dead, but his cock and bollocks we kept on ice.
Would you accept them?
They're absolutely lovely match.
Better than yours.
Yeah.
Bigger, younger.
Yeah, go on then, I'll have them.
You'd have
So you would you'd have someone else's cock and bollocks, but then you wouldn't donate yours to someone
But
else.
what about this? What if you discovered later, right, that the person who donated the cock and bollocks, right, was a sex pervert? was a homosexual sex pervert?
I don't think, though, that I'd bother looking into the history of these cock and bollocks.
You
It's
just
not
accept
like,
them.
you know...
You accept them willy-nilly, but what if you just found out by
That
chance?
was his name. That was his name, willy-nilly. That was his stage name. And
What
you
if
come
you
on and
found
show
out
him up
by
and they-
chance?
How do I find out by chance? What's the scenario
They
there?
say, well, the doctor goes, I should tell you, I know you believe in a load of shit about Yellow Biscuits and bollocks like that, so I'll just tell you, in case anything goes weird, this was a sex pervert's cock and bollocks, so if you find that you're sticking these through letterboxes, don't worry, it's not your fault. It's where they wanted to have gone. That's
Would it concern you if you accepted the cock and bollocks that had a past like that?
Yeah, because the problem is, it wouldn't be that bad if I had his eyes.
Right.
why?
Because then I'm seeing what he wants to see, and
That doesn't
mess
make
with
any
it.
sense at all,
But
Carl. It
unfortunately,
makes no sense at all.
the match is wrong. The eyes don't go with the cock and bollocks anymore.
I don't know.
So something's going to lose out here. Either the cock and bollocks, they're not going to get what they want anymore, or the eyes are going to be upset.
So are you scared of the idea, to go back to your yellow biscuit analogy, that the cock and bollocks you inherit, that whatever the previous owner did with them
Lives on.
You see, the ant analogy, joking aside, I think there you hit on the fact that life is about working for what you get. And I'm right behind that. I am right behind that. I think that's I think that's absolutely true.
That's what I meant. What's dangerous is
A boiling kettle to an ant.
at the end of the day, right? Yeah, but that's evil, isn't it?
What?
You know, I mean, you sometimes make out as if I'm an evil man. We had an ant problem in the garden. Suzanne said, we've got to get rid of these. And I said, well, it's a bit out of order, they are outside. And she said, yeah, but there's getting a lot of them. She went and popped the kettle on. I said, I can't handle this. I went in, right?
What, you didn't want to see the ants burn? That's sweet, you know, they're there.
Yeah, they might be causing a problem, but I don't want to see this mess. Now, the thing is, she went out, she poured the hot water on it, I left it a few minutes, I went out, I had a cup of tea, I thought, it's a waste of electrical line. So I took my cup of tea out there, and I'm sat there, and then I just saw one come back from wherever it had been. One ant. He looked devastated. Because that had been away. As far as that was concerned, it had been out to get a leaf or whatever. He came back, devastation. And it's that what that's the thing. It summed up death for me. That the ants that are dead, they didn't know anything. Suddenly they were there. Next minute, load of water, dead. It's the people who are still living in life that are the saddest, aren't they? After death. And that summed it up.
What do you think?
That ant would have been better off being there when it happened.
How could you tell the ant was...
What do you think? So you
Just the
saw
way
him,
I mean, they run around in circles anyway, don't they? But this was just kind of going, what's going on?
and what did it slow down when it got nearer the nest? Did it drop the leaf and then you see it run the last few inches?
It just kind of got close, and it was like a double take almost. Almost like it got near the hole, and then it was like, hang on a minute, this can't be it because no one's around. Then it walked on, and it went, no, it is the hole. And it went back, and it just sort of stopped for a minute.
Ah.
And that for me, that's the sort of thoughts Descartes should have been having.
What?
Things that you can look at as a human and appreciate it and understand it and go, yeah, that's true, that is like life. Instead of, oh, am I awake, am I asleep, or what? No. Well, you might as well be asleep because you're doing nothing else.
Oh, God! Oh, Descartes! Winehouse, Alan. Slammed. What do you do towards enjoying your life?
I don't normally enjoy the thing when I'm doing it, it's after. It's like that holiday. When I was on
What do you mean
holiday.
you don't enjoy the thing when you're doing it, it's after? What's an example of not enjoying the thing at the moment but you do after?
You didn't enjoy the holiday?
Say like the holiday, I've just
So
been
you enjoyed
away.
coming off holiday? What?
I want to hear it. You enjoyed the holiday. You didn't enjoy the
When
holiday.
I'm there, I had fleas biting me.
Yeah.
I had mosquitoes biting me.
Yeah.
There was a funny smell of damp in the bathroom. I was worrying, getting in the sea, thinking, is there stonefish in it? Right? Now, you've got all that going on.
Yeah.
When you get back, you forget about the damp smell. You forget about
you
the
haven't.
fleas, because the bites have gone. They're not as much of a problem.
Yeah.
So then your brain starts going, well, hang on, what did I enjoy? And you go, I enjoyed the dorada fish I had that I've never eaten.
Yeah.
That's an experience. At the time, I wasn't enjoying it, because I'm thinking, when I get back, I'm going to have fleas on me again.
Yeah.
So you remember all the good stuff. It's like an old person when they're dying and they go, I'm having flashbacks. They don't say, I'm remembering the time my shoes were too tight.
What do they say?
They're having nice, they're going, oh, I loved the time with that.
I was
Harold."
wearing flip-flops.
No, they enjoy, they have flashbacks.
Like
to the
what
nice
then?
holidays.
What do you think you'll
The
go back?
holidays and that, you'll go, oh, the lovely hot summer of 79.
So you don't enjoy anything you enjoy while you're
At the
doing
moment,
it?
at the moment in time, it's
I
always
don't understand
afterwards.
that. I mean, that is the oddest thing I've ever heard
I think
about.
there's actually a medical term for it. There's someone who's unable
I've never heard of
to
it.
enjoy, to receive pleasure, to take pleasure.
It's really weird, that is really weird.
No, because you're busy doing the thing. So
What,
you haven't got time to enjoy
So
it. when
you can't enjoy something you're busy doing because you're busy doing it. You can't possibly enjoy it.
Or you don't know if you're going to enjoy it because it hasn't finished yet.
Well, Carl, but listen, I know from the at the
Right,
moment.
say this.
Well, listen,
Bungee jumping. I'd love to be able to do it. I bet you get a brilliant feeling as you're
Right.
falling.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be enjoying it because I'd be going, is the thing going to snap?
Right, okay, well there is something about that. Extreme sports, there is a reason why you're doing it. It is the after effect you enjoy, because it's the fear and then the endorphins that rush to you and you go, my God, I survived, isn't it brilliant? That's a feeling of euphoria. So that's...
No, but you're having a nice dinner.
Right, okay.
Now, when I get a menu given to me in a restaurant,
Yeah.
I go, right, what am I going to do here?
Yeah.
Right, well, when I came here, I thought I'd have some lamb chops. They've got lamb chops, great. Wonder how much to give you, because I quite fancy this pudding they've got.
Right.
Now, I have the lamb chops, it comes with extra veg. I eat it, I enjoy it. The pudding I wanted, it's gone out the window, I've got no room for it now.
Yeah.
But you enjoyed the lamb chops.
You enjoyed the lamb chops, you can only get packed so much enjoy. If you're enjoying all your life all the time, there's no point in regretting anything.
That's just greed.
No, but I was looking forward to the pudding.
Well, you shouldn't have eaten all the veg.
Yeah, but I was enjoying it at that point.
But then you take the pleasure that you had at that point.
No, because I wanted a pudding.
Yeah,
But you didn't want to put in, or you've had a pudding.
No, because I would have had it for the sake of having it. And then it's
Yeah,
ruined.
but I don't know what the whinge is there. You had a lovely meal, you had some lovely lamb chops, you enjoyed the hour.
Because when I read that they had like profiteroles on there,
Yeah.
I thought I fancy a couple of them.
Yeah, and then...
And the chance has gone. I'm probably not coming back to this restaurant now.
yeah, but you haven't missed a chance. You had the chance, you didn't want to take it because you were full up with lovely lamb.
It's
What's
not
the
like you
problem?
didn't enjoy the lamb and the veg. If you'd not enjoyed that, I can understand your point. But you had a lovely time eating the lamb and the veg.
If someone said, if the bloke came here and said, you can have the buffet rolls if you eat this lamb you don't like, you go, oh, and you ate the lamb, you didn't like it, but now you're full, then you could whinge. You wish I hadn't been forced to eat the lamb, I could have the buffet rolls. That's, you know...
I had a spicy sausage.
Right.
Now, the problem was, I was enjoying it, but I thought this is the spiciest sausage I've ever eaten.
Right.
Now, I could only enjoy that the next day night when I knew that it's gone through my body, there hasn't been a problem. So, no, that was a nice sausage, I'd have one of them again. Right.
That was a nice sausage! But then the next time, surely you'd be enjoying it, because you wouldn't have the trauma of the next night, because you'd lived through it, and now you're just enjoying the lovely spiciness and the sausaginess of the spicy sausage.
Yeah, but the problem is, once you've enjoyed something, it's very difficult to replace what you got from that spicy sausage the first time.
Then why are you looking forward to having another one?
Because let me tell you,
Go on.
Auntie Nora,
Yeah.
she's guilty of this all the time.
She loves a spicy
Well, she, you know, I've told you she prepares all the food, right? She's got them all in bags in a freezer, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Right.
She's got it all there. Now, what she normally does, she makes a big pot of curry.
Right.
She goes, what I'll do, I'll pop that in the Monday bag and I'll pop it in the Thursday bag. It's the same curry. Now, she has it on the Monday.
Yeah.
She loves it. She thinks I got the mix just right there. The spices are good. The chicken was tasty.
I'm looking forward to Thursday.
I'm looking forward to Thursday. I can't wait for Thursday.
Yeah.
I'll call her up on the Thursday evening. I'll go, how was the curry that you had on Monday that you said you were having again on Thursday that you enjoyed? Didn't enjoy it. Why is that? Dunno. Just want the same. Now, the weird thing there is it is the same. Auntie Nora, that is the same. It's from the same bag. It's from the same pot. But she was expecting too much. And that's the problem. If I had that spicy sausage again, it's never going to live up to it. So forget the spicy sausage. I've had it. I've experienced it.
So you
if
never
someone
know
says, well, it depends.
So do you have anything twice, ever?
Maybe not.
But this is insane, Carl, because aside from you and your Auntie Norma and presumably all the other Pilkington clan, or all as weird as one another, why you phone her up and ask her what she's having for tea, I don't know.
Yeah, that's one thing.
What, and
That
that
shows
not
you that-
only what is
that-
happening on Monday,
yeah.
but what you're going to do on Thursday as well. I'll make a note of it in the Auntie Norma food diary.
That's proof that you really aren't enjoying your life now.
Exactly.
To go, right, oh, fucking hell.
What
what
else
can
do you say?
But
to
then
other
he's
people?
phoning her up again late on the Friday to find out how the Thursday curry went down.
I know, exactly. Yeah.
That's two calls that week.
Unbelievable.
Well, it's just
Just
good to-
read her journal.
No, he makes her happy, doesn't it? Getting a call. She's got nothing else.
Yeah,
What
but
else
the
she's
curry
gonna
doesn't.
tell
The
me?
curry don't make her happy.
No, she did the first
They loved it
time.
on Monday. We should like it on Thursday.
No, the question is it better to enjoy something once and not again than not at all?
But you're an
What do you
idiot
mean?
because you're
That's
the
not
only person who
choice.
experiences this.
That's not the choice. That's not the choice for normal people. You can either never enjoy summer or only enjoy it once. You can enjoy things loads of times.
you can't.
That's what a hobby is. A hobby is enjoying things over and over again.
I haven't got a hobby ever. That's why. I've had loads of hobbies in the past. I did the dancing, I did the boxing, I did, what else have I done?
That is it. I think that's what.
But that's what I'm saying now, I'd soon get bored.